This is the 26th. We're starting a new day. This is going to be some more rain ambience. This is a nice character out here in front of Bill Byrns' house. I'll give you another minute of this ambience here.
Now, when you moved here, I assume you said you had long hair, and I don't know if you had a beard or not, but you were obviously out of the urban area. How did the people relate to you?
Well, I was real worried, as to how it would, because even up north at this time of period, long hair was really frowned upon. Hippies were in a whole different situation. It wasn't accepted. I was real pleased because people know bad vibes and all and everything. People went overboard to help us, took us in just like we were family or whatever. I think they were, impressed with us just because we would come down to this area, and live in this area. And to them, I think a lot of them, would figure, why would anybody ever want to come down and live in this area? And I think they appreciate the fact that somebody would come down. Besides just being friendly people down here.
Well, the other thing is we didn't know hardly anything. Like when we came down, our grass was 3 feet tall, and we were told to get a bush hog. Well, we went to the Western Auto to get a bush hog because we thought it was a little thing, and here we found out it was part of a tractor. And so, we were open to finding out things from the people, and I think that really helped a lot.
Yeah, attitude was different because some people that we did know came down here with this redneck attitude, or the attitude that okay, here I am, I know it all, and I'm going down here, and these people don't know anything. And people pick up on that right away, and they had hostility and stuff. But with us, we knew that they had a lot to teach us, and we went out with that attitude. And if you do that anywhere with anybody, and they know that you sincerely want to know what they know and things, they appreciate that. And we did have an awful lot to learn, because we were straight out of the city, and I thought I knew a little bit about, being back in the country, but not a thing when it came down to it.
Did you gain, you talked a little bit about the respect you gained for the people down here for their ability to eke out a living on this land. Could you talk a little bit about that?
You want it?
Do I want it? Well, the way they make a living was just so foreign to us, like heating with wood or working with wood. Like Bill knows how to work with wood, but as far as going out in the woods and using mules and all that to us was something that people did a long time ago, not anymore. It was really a different reality. And we learned that, like before we came down, we were big on organic farming also, because we'd read about it. Well, people down here, a lot of them do it. It's a necessity, And when we first came down, we did it a lot too. But now that with teaching and everything else, I don't have as much time as I used to. But it's amazing what they get, a little bit that they get by with.
Yeah, these people live down here all their lives, and they know what they're doing as far as how to do it and everything. Of course, we came down, and you have to adapt to local ways to get anywhere. One thing we did, we brought, we came down and built the house and wired the whole thing. We were told how low we're going to put our electric in, so we bought it in the spring, and we were going to come down in summer. We left a note and talked to him and said, here's where we want the pole, We figured, well, we'd come down, the electric would be in, we'd build the house.
Well, come on around.
And it was over a year before the house was, the electricity even came in. We wired the house, had an air conditioner sitting in there, all the plugs and stuff, and for a year we had kerosene lamps, which we didn't even know about Aladdin lamps for over a year. We used these little jobbers, and we brought lamp oil from our old store. which doesn't even burn as good as kerosene. We went flying during the winter, with that. We had a kerosene stove and a kerosene refrigerator, and to us, it was 6 months before we found out they even had that. And after that, well, when we came over here, we went to gas refrigerator, and that was a, extreme luxury over kerosene and not having to fill the pot up and trim the wick and stuff.
We learned a lot of patience. We learned that things do not happen quickly. When you're in the city, if you want your electricity hooked up, it gets hooked up quickly. We learn not to expect things to happen quickly. If you want something done, you ask whoever is capable of doing it to help you, and then you expect to wait quite a while, because people are not in a hurry. And we ourselves have slowed down accordingly.
Did you enjoy living without electricity and without the comforts?
The second time around, it was much easier. The first time, we were very impatient. It was, I want to listen to the stereo. I want, because, and we couldn't see, we did. If you try to spend a winter with only candles and kerosene lights that don't work very well, it's hard.
Nobody really to visit and things. When we moved over here, it was 3 years over here before we had power, and we didn't even really work on it. We decided, we'll tell them and let them get it in, because we had the gas refrigerator, we had a gas pump and a gravity feed system up in the attic for our water supply, and a gas hot water heater, and Aladdin lamps, which are fairly efficient for lighting. So I played with a lot of things, inverters and generators, not, DC generators and battery setups and battery lights, and we put a dam in the creek, and I tried a turbine and all that crap, which didn't work at all. But,
kept trying, though.
Yeah, just to see how much self-sufficient food we could. I enjoy not having electricity to know that I can do it, and that I can adapt to it. But my feelings now is I know I can live without it very simply, but I just soon have electricity and the comforts of it right now, because I feel in 20, 30 years I'm not going to have the comforts. So, there's going to be changes, and if we have to go back to that lifestyle, we know how to do it and adapt to it very easily. So.
Why did you pick this area to come to?
Oh, cheap land, basically, and being southern, trying to get a different climate and get out in the woods. It was, I don't know, we came down and looked at a few places, looked at the one over in Thomasville, went down to Arkansas, and which was another thing, United Farm Catalog said they had this place that was 120 acres, and it was rolling to level, the steep terrain, a quarter mile from the Buffalo River, and they wanted $5,200 for it back then, which is less than $50 an acre or something. We went down there, and the guy took us. This was in the Buffalo Mountains, and he took us up this road for about a half hour, this gravel road in the mountains, and he pointed up to the top of this hill about 500 feet up and said it lays up there. The Buffalo River was a quarter mile straight down off the top of the hill, and so after that, we came back to Thomasville and bought that place right away. But, and it was 2 miles off the road and 2 miles from nearest neighbor and our own private road. But it was a valley, had about 40 acres in the valley, up around. A very nice place, but no water on it, and that was a big reason that we moved, and also to get over here near some more folks and stuff. But we couldn't even put a pond in there. The clay was a gravelly clay where you couldn't even hold water at all.
Unless you had cattle or hogs to help keep pounding it down that way, it'd stay all right.
We were still into our agricultural trips, and you need water to have an agricultural thing.
I was just curious how much land costs around here.
Right now, or?
Well, when you bought it in right now.
Well, when I bought it, we paid $5,200 for 80 acres of just plain land, and this was back. Now, the guy that we bought it from was a realtor, and he paid $3,800 for it 6 months ago. And that was still, I think, $50 or $60 an acre is what we paid for it. We came over here 5 years ago and paid $125 and thought we were really paying a lot of money. And we have a lot of creeks and springs and stuff. Now, I suppose land like this is worth $400 or $500 an acre. Anything that's cleared at all or usable at all is worth that much. You get on the highways and stuff, and you're talking $1,000 an acre. And for little pieces, you're talking almost that much.
Do you think more people like yourselves are going to be moving in here? Is it?
I think more people are going to be buying land, whether they really move in or not. I don't know. Like I would really like to own little parcels of land, in other parts of the country, because I feel land will always be there. I'm not quite sure of anything else, and I would like to, just so I could change and camp out if I wanted to on my own piece of land, rather than having to be crowded by somebody else. Really, I think a lot of people are looking for that now. a place where they can get by themselves, at least for short spans of time.
There was a surge after the hippie movement or whatever, the involvement in the colleges and that sort of thing, and then these people get out like us. Feeling that might happen.
What about the role of the men and women here? Did you find it?
I found it
Betty's
very
question.
aggravating. Like with the first couple we met, they're really neat people, but if we'd go to visit and there's something happening in the barn and I wanted to go see, it was, Betty, you live in the kitchen. You know, my wife's in the kitchen. You know, it was always, Bill, come with me out and see the new pigs that have been born or whatever. You belong in the kitchen. You know, and I got that continually from here, there, and everywhere. And it was very aggravating for me. It's still prevalent, but not as bad. You know, if a man, anytime anybody comes to visit, if your husband's not here, they won't come in the house even if you invite them. You know, you always go out on the porch and talk to them. In some places, if you have a gate, they won't even come to the house. They'll come to the gate. You know, there's a real thing about a man's not home, another man doesn't come.